When France finally pulled out of Niger, it wasn't just the end of a military deployment, it was the collapse of a legacy. For decades, France held a grip over the Sahel region, projecting power, dictating politics, and siphoning wealth. But that day, the people of Niger stood tall. They rose, not with fear, but with purpose. They said, enough is enough. And just like that, a colonial shadow began to retreat. It was more than symbolic. It was a shift in the spirit of West Africa. The streets of Niamey exploded with celebration. Young men and women waved national flags. Old men who had seen the days of colonial rule shed silent tears. Children danced barefoot in the dust. For the first time in a long time, they felt the air of sovereignty. Real sovereignty, not the kind written in constitutions, but the kind that flows in the veins of a liberated people. And then, something incredible happened. As the French troops exited Niger, a ripple of hope surged across borders. In Mali, the people watched. In Burkina Faso, they cheered. In Guinea, they stood alert. Because they knew this was not just Niger's victory. This was the beginning of a greater awakening, a storm of patriotism that could no longer be stopped. Don't forget to like this video, drop a comment with the flag of your country, and subscribe to this channel if you believe in a united, sovereign Africa. Soon after France's departure from Niger, the eyes of the world turned to its neighbors, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. These countries were already on a bold path, led by young military leaders who had decided to stand against foreign control. And now, they saw confirmation. It was possible. What happened next was not orchestrated in secret meetings or diplomatic conferences. It was born on the streets, in the homes, in the hearts of the people. In Mali, President Assimi Goïta doubled down on the country's new path. He made it clear, no more military bases that serve foreign interests. Instead, Mali would invest in its own forces, its own intelligence, and its own destiny. In Burkina Faso, Captain Ibrahim Traoré ignited a fire of patriotism that continues to burn like never before. His speeches are not just words, they are the voice of a generation that refuses to kneel. Farmers, students, soldiers, they all came together to defend their homeland, to rebuild it with their own hands, and to protect it with their own blood if necessary. And in Guinea, under the leadership of Colonel Mamady Doumbouya, the message was loud and clear. Africa must no longer be dictated by outsiders. Guinea began to reorganize its institutions, tighten control over its resources, and reconnect with Pan-African ideals. These nations weren't just reacting, they were rising. And together, they began to form what many now call a new axis of African resistance. If you're proud of Africa's rising voice, hit that like button now, and don't forget to subscribe to follow more stories the mainstream media won't tell you. What followed in the wake of France's withdrawal from Niger was more than national change. It was regional unity. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger didn't just celebrate separately. They began to unite their destinies. In a historic move, the three countries announced a new Sahel alliance, a regional military and economic pact meant to secure their future without dependency on foreign powers. For the first time in modern African history, countries rejected foreign-imposed regional blocs and said, "We will build our own." And it didn't stop at politics. This unity began to manifest in trade, in culture, and in defense. Shared military training programs were launched. Borders became bridges rather than barriers. And young people across the Sahel began to speak a common language, the language of liberation. Burkina Faso sent tractors and engineers to help rebuild roads in Niger. Mali offered grain and support in drought-affected regions. Guinea offered intelligence sharing mechanisms. It was a living example of the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And the world watched in disbelief. Because for too long, Africa was seen as divided, corrupt, and dependent. But this was something different. This was the birth of a new era, an era where the youth no longer looked to the West for validation, but looked inward for strength. Are you inspired by this new African unity? Then drop a comment with the word "together" below and tell us what unity means to your country. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe and become part of this patriotic movement. This moment, this awakening in the Sahel, is not just for Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, or Guinea. It is a message to every African country, from Lagos to Addis Ababa, from Dakar to Johannesburg. This spirit is contagious. It's telling us we can build our own roads, we can defend our own lands, we can manage our own resources, and we can write our own story. The exit of France from Niger was just the spark. The real fire is in the hearts of the African youth, the generation rising with vision, courage, and pride. Imagine an Africa where our resources are processed in Africa, where our security is in our own hands, where foreign troops are guests, not masters, where every child grows up proud of their flag, their language, their soil. It's not a dream, it's already happening, but it's up to us to keep the momentum going. Share this video with every brother and sister who needs to be reminded of our greatness. Let them see what happened after France left Niger. Let them witness the courage of Mali, the fire of Burkina Faso, the dignity of Guinea, and let them believe again. Because Africa is not rising, it has already risen. All that's left is for us to stand up and claim what is ours. If you believe that Africa is on the right path, subscribe right now. Like this video, and most importantly, share it with 3 people today. Let's make sure the world sees what they tried to hide. Africa is awake, and we are never going back to sleep.